Ships ahoy, or kayaks ahoy. This is a video I've been wanting to make for a little while now, but I wanted to be fair and give myself some time to have a few sessions out on the water with my new Perception Sound 10.5 foot kayak. And they make it in apparently a 9.5 version too, which initially I thought I wanted to get that. But in all honesty, I'm glad that I ended up just going with the 10.5 foot model, and I'll get to that reason why a little bit later in the video. So as I mentioned, the boat is made by Perception, which is a company that is owned under the umbrella of Confluence Outdoors. And they also, I believe, own some of the other kayak companies such as Pelican and Wilderness Systems. Here you can see the model number, the Sound 10.5, but as I mentioned, it also comes in a 9.5 version. That was not available in my area, and I didn't want to order online given some things that I had heard, so I decided to buy from a sports outfitter store in my area. The setup that I have here is just a temporary solution until I get a permanent sort of kayak rack. But for now, this is just what I'm doing, keeping the boat inside my basement for storage, primarily because I'm worried about critters getting inside, and there's all sorts of places that they can hide, and I don't want to have mice or whatever else in my garage getting into my boat. So I have decided to opt for, except for this critter right here. Tater Bear, get out of there. Yes, this is just a temporary setup. Some of the features about this boat, first and foremost, what I really love are these molded in handles at the bow of the boat, and you also have one at the stern of the boat. This makes handling the boat, for me at least, lots easier. Let's put it that way. I looked at lots of different models in person in my area at the different stores that are around in my neck of the woods, and I just felt that for stability as far as carrying it, and also for securing it, that's another thing that I felt was very important to me. And speaking of securing, just to show you, you might have seen my video. I have these dock lines from one of my boats that I no longer need them for. And so I use these to secure the kayak in the back of the pickup bed. And I feel like having, again, these molded in handles is really crucial to me feeling that the kayak is securely fastened inside the pickup bed. You have this molded in area here to put some gear with the bungee. And again, you have this giant area back in here to stow some gear with the bungee. So unlike some of the other kayaks that were out there that I was considering, specifically the Wilderness Systems Pungo, I think it was a 10.5. That situation is a different sort of setup, whereas you didn't have this external sort of storage area. It was more of it was an enclosed area with a hatch. Like I don't know that it's watertight, but it had hatches in the stern. And I decided that I didn't want to mess around with that. And the reason that I didn't really want to mess around with the enclosed hatches is I just sort of considered the situations in which I would be kayaking, which is purely recreational, which I should have said earlier in the video. This kayak is a recreational kayak. There are other types of kayaks, such as sea kayaks, which are designed very differently than this boat. There are touring kayaks, which I don't really know much about them, but again, they are, I believe, designed differently than these recreational kayaks. So for me, for what I'm doing, I really like the accessibility of of being able to get to my gear quickly, rather than having to go in through a hatch, open up a lid, and all that kind of jazz. So I really like the setup of my boat the way that it is. It's really great for accessibility. With the storage back here, I use that to put my cart, my dolly cart in. This is essential. It comes through these little poles, as I've shown you in another video, through these holes here in the hull of the boat, so that you can wheel the boat and transport it where you need to go for portaging, launching, whatever it is that you're doing. I find that without this, I probably would not have been able to purchase this boat because it weighs 46 pounds. And so while 46 pounds may not seem like it's super heavy as far as kayaks go, for me, that was another decision that I decided, at least for me, that I needed to have a boat that I could independently lift in and out of my truck, independently launch and retrieve, and having the dolly or the cart, the kayak cart, makes all the difference. Now, the kayak cart that I have this Malone Express TRX scupper style kayak cart. And I bought this at the same place I purchased the kayak, and I'm, again, extremely pleased with it. One of the things that I really like about it are these wheels that come with it, though plastic and not inflatable. I wanted something non-inflatable because I didn't want to worry about flat tires. Now, I can tell you that I have used the cart over gravel, bumpy grass type of terrain, of course, pavement, lifting it over a lip of the door, for example, which is right here. I have taken it in and out from the basement to the outside to, load it into my truck. And so I just feel like it's actually works really well for me. I also like this cart because when you go to launch your boat, once the water is deep enough, these start to slip out of the scupper holes, and you can basically just reach down and grab the cart out of the water, and I stow it in the back here. So it works really well for me. The other thing about this boat, here's the drain plug, is that if you take a look at the aft end, it's a little different configuration than some of the other boats that I was looking at, where these channels didn't exist. So I can't remember what they call this, but it's basically, I think this is like the skeg of the boat right here. But there's no rudder, obviously, no steering as far as this boat goes. And I like it because it feels a lot more stable to me. And this boat was sort of, in the reviews that I read, touted as a very stable boat. Stability was very important to me and definitely was a factor in my decision to go with this boat, as was comfort with the seat. So this seat is adjustable in the back. It has this little strap here, and right here is where you can adjust the backrest forward or back more, or back more. Now this part of the seat does not adjust, like moving forward or backwards, as the Wilderness Systems Punga, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. You could, with that model, actually adjust the seat forward and backwards. So that way, when you go to put your feet on the foot braces, it gave you some maneuverability as far as comfort. And speaking of the foot braces, you can see here that there they are. And this track here that they are on is also adjustable. So that one's a little easier to see. You can see the notches in here that allow you to move the foot brace back so you have greater comfort. Now this boat does not have bulkheads, but it does have these foam, I'm not sure what they call them. I'm not sure if it's just to support the boat. I think that's more so for support than it is for flotation. I don't know that it really contributes anything at all to flotation. There is also one here in the stern of the boat. So there, and then it's underneath here. There. And as far as how far back that goes, it's hard to say. I would assume it goes all the way back to the aft end of the boat, but I haven't really explored that. So as far as some of the gear to get you started, to get out on the water, like me as a beginner, I just wanted to get the basics. I'm not doing any camping or anything like that quite yet, but one day I hope to do that. Some of the gear that I have would include what you see here. Again, I've got my lines to secure my kayak to the back of my truck. There are people that use straps instead. I watched some video that said to not use the ratchet straps, that those could deform the hull. On the roto-molded, that's what this kind of boat is. It's roto-molded, I believe, a roto-molded hull. And they said that the ratchet straps, if tightened too much, could damage it. So I use just lines. I have this dry bag that I got, Sea to Summit. It's just, I can't remember how many liters it is. Oh, 3 liters right there. And I really like this to put my phone, keys, wallet, sunscreen, lip balm, whatever. This is a kayaking or sailing life vest that I got. I actually got it for sailing. It's made by Stolquist, and I did get this on Amazon actually. And it is shaped so that when you sit in the kayak, the bulky part of the flotation is above the backrest. So in other words, you don't have the bulk when you're sitting in the boat. That bulkiness is not there. It's actually above the backrest, which makes a big difference in comfort, I think, too. So this is actually a women's style jacket as well, but I'm sure they make the equivalent for men. But I really find that this is great because you get a lot of range of motion with the way that this is designed as far as your paddling range of motion. This is also something that I read is a must for kayakers and paddlers, is a whistle, emergency whistle. So I have that also attached to my life vest. What I also want to get is a little Swiss Army knife. I hear that that's also something really important to have. I don't have that yet though. This here is a cover for the cockpit. So it fits, as you can see, around the cockpit combing in this groove. This has an elastic sort of bungee, if you will, and you can just attach it and just snap, or not snap it, but snug it all around the cockpit and keeping the critters out, like that guy right there, because he likes to crawl in there and get back into all these fun places to hide. So this, I think, I got this on Amazon as well from the Perception Amazon store, and it was $70 some, I believe. So not inexpensive, but I think especially once the kayak's stored outdoors, this will make a big difference to help keep maybe some critters out as well. Got my sponge, this at the Sports Outfitting store, and this is a super absorbent sponge. I've found that when I paddle my boat, of course I probably am not paddling the way I'm supposed to be, but again, I'm a beginner and I'm just learning. What I've noticed is that the water will drip and catch into the channel around here sometimes and collect a little bit. Eventually it will drain out here and here, which is good. But I tend to drop a lot of water sometimes from my paddling into the cockpit. And so having this microfiber towel as well as the sponge is really great to help get rid of the excess water. This is the paddle that I decided to go with. This was, I think, around $79. I really don't know if it's good or not good. I just kind of went with this, what the store had as far as middle of the road. So not the cheapest, not the most expensive. Again, I don't know enough to know if it's bad or good or anything because I'm just a beginner and I'm just starting out and it works for my purposes. And last but not least, the other piece of gear that I bought, of course, were these tow flags. And I just use these and attach them on the bow handle right here so that when I'm towing, I just put one on either side actually. And that way, when I'm driving down the road, after the boat is secure in the pickup bed, I have, you know, I think it's required by law that if it sticks out so many feet from the end of your vehicle, you have to have these. So that's why I have them. As far as actually the boat itself, let me just wrap up with my impressions because I was trying to make this video short. My impressions of this boat are, number one, I am in love with this boat. I named her Dolly, and that's in remembrance of my grandmother. So all the more extra special for me. The boat, they say the longer the boat, the better it tracks. And so getting back to the 9.5 versus 10.5, that is what I would say is why I'm glad that I went with this 10.5 version instead of the 9.5, so that it does give me a little bit maybe more trackability, if that's a word. And so the other reason I would say that I really love this boat, although I think like with sea kayaks and possibly touring kayaks and of course the whitewater kayaks, the cockpit is not usually so big, but I love the large cockpit. The beam of this boat is, I think, almost not quite, maybe 28. I'd have to check on that figure, but I just think for me, I like it because I don't feel so claustrophobic. So that's my little review of my Perception Sound 10.5 recreational kayak. I love it. And I'm so excited about this boat. It has offered me a level of independence with boating that I haven't had with the other kinds of boating I've done, which I've been on lots of different kinds of power boats and sailboats. And this is something that just gives me a feeling that I just can't really articulate how amazing it is. And yeah, I'm already crafting all sorts of kinds of adventures in my mind about what I want to do with this boat. And I can't wait to learn more and yeah, just have some really cool adventures.